Well, it looks like today we've got news regarding the Sony Katakawa stuff. As you're probably well aware, Sony was looking at acquiring Katakawa, specifically with eyes on FromSoft, because Katakawa is their parent company, as well as Katakawa's anime catalog. And these negotiations have been going on for a few weeks or so now, with Katakawa showing immense interest in coming to a conclusive deal with Sony, in large part to fend off potential hostile takeovers from foreign companies, one major concern being South Korea's Kakao Corp. Presumably, they think that if Sony has an extremely large stake in the company, they're less likely to sell their shares in a potential hostile takeover situation, which means that Sony therefore doesn't want this to be like a short-term gain. They see some like long-term potential in having this position at Katakawa. Of course, things can always change. Sony might backstab Katakawa, but that doesn't seem too likely given what's occurred so far, but who knows? No, instead the main concern is simply what Sony might influence Katakawa to do and FromSoft to do, etc., etc. A lot of people, understandably, don't have much goodwill for Sony or much confidence in Sony at this point in time. And of course, therefore, there would be a lot of concerns about what Sony may do with Katakawa's anime catalog and FromSoft, etc., etc. And so we now have news that the deal has gone through, but the good news is disaster averted for the most part, as Sony will not be taking over the company, instead only getting around a 10% stake in Katakawa and forming a strategic alliance. Of course, the best outcome would have been Sony not getting further involvement in Katakawa, and Katakawa also not getting any hostile takeovers going through. However, given the way the negotiations were going, it really seemed like this was going to happen one way or the other. And so all considered, this is probably the next best outcome. Certainly better than Katakawa getting fully taken over by Sony or some foreign company. We've got an official statement here from the Chief Executive Officer over at Katakawa, the CEO, saying, "We are very pleased to conclude this capital and business alliance agreement with Sony. This alliance is expected to not only further strengthen our IP creation capabilities, but also increase our IP media mix options with Sony support for global expansion, allowing us to deliver our IP to more users around the world. We are confident that this will greatly contribute to maximizing the value of our IP and increasing our corporate value in the mid to long term. We intend to do our utmost to ensure that our collaborative efforts with Sony produce great results in the global market." Sony's Chief Operating Officer and Chief Financial Officer also issuing a statement. This one reading, "Through this capital and business alliance, we will become the largest shareholder of Katakawa, which consistently creates a wide variety of IP, including publications and books, such as light novels and comics, as well as games and anime. By combining Katakawa's extensive IP and IP creation ecosystem with the strengths of Sony, which has promoted the global expansion of a wide range of entertainment, including anime and games, we plan to work closely together to realize Katakawa's global media mix strategy, aimed at maximizing the value of its IP and Sony's long-term vision, creative entertainment vision, quote unquote." So I will say this whole like global thing that they're saying in both statements isn't enticing to me at all. Anime has done just fine reaching global markets when they weren't trying to pander to them, and although they're not saying they're going to pander in these statements, there of course is a concern because how many times do we see some foreign company end up trying to like westernize and that backfiring? I mean, Sony themselves have plenty of examples of that happening. And of course, we don't want that therefore also happening to Katakawa and then FromSoft and, whole chain of command and all that. Oh, and the final thing to note, the deal will officially go through at the beginning of January, that being specifically January 7th. Once again, let me know what you think about this update in the comments. As always, thank you for tuning in. Consider liking and or subscribing if you enjoyed my coverage, and I'll see you in the next one.